Hey, so I'm back. I hope you're glad to see me. I'm glad to have you. And before we go any further, I just want to make a disclaimer that this video is probably more so for me than it is for you. You know, I want this video to mark a place of starting, a place of stepping out and just getting going and seeing what happens and what comes out of it. See, I looked back on my most recent video that I posted and it was in July 2017, which marks 3 years this year since my last post. And for me, YouTube has been one of those things that has been almost like an undying desire, or that thought that just won't quit. It's something that I always come back to as a platform where I want to share my passions, I want to share my encouragements, and you know, something that I feel God has always been prodding me about. And so this year I started preparing to make my comeback to YouTube. I was buying memory cards, I was looking around and scouting my house to see where it would be best to give my setup. I was talking to some people and just trying to get some courage. I even went as far as to start a whole file, which I'm going to show you right now. I was just re-envisioning. Here, I'm going to show you. I was re-envisioning like what this channel is all about, all the things that I'm going to do, and what I wanted it to mean, like what was its purpose. I was doing a lot just behind the scenes, and then I think it got to a point where I realized this is more so now becoming procrastination as opposed to preparation. For the most part, I had things in place. I just needed to get started. And so today I picked up my camera and I was like, Tracy, post your first video, post it however it comes. We're gonna step out. And one of the things that actually really kind of shook my world as I read it, because I was like, yeah, Tracy, that's you. I've been reading this book called The Defining Decade, and as a Christian, that's a bit of an interesting title for a book, but that's a whole other conversation for another day. But really, it's a book by this lady called Megan J, who is a psychologist, I think, that works with people in their 20s mainly, and she counsels them, and she talks about like the significance of the 20s. She calls it like the critical period where there's so much growth and change that can happen, but often it's a missed decade for many. Like it's a time maybe spent wasted or just distracted on lots of different things. And so in the book, she outlines lots of different things that can help you to basically make the most use of your 20s. And one of the sections that she talked about, she's talking about this idea called the Unthought Known. And really it's the concept that there are so many things about us that give us direction as to the next steps that we could be taking in life. It's not just academics that give us the next step. There are so many other things, other experiences, personality traits we have, academic qualifications, all these different things that shape how we can make decisions about the next stage. But often we're paralyzed in a place of saying, I don't really know what the next stage is. Then she crushes all that by basically saying it's not that we don't know, it's just that we don't take time to think about what we know, so that those things can help us to shape our decisions. The section that really shook me is this part that I'm going to share. It said, Ian pretended that not knowing what to do was the hard part, when somewhere inside, I think he knew that making a choice about something is when the real uncertainty begins. The more terrifying uncertainty is wanting something but not knowing how to get it. It is working towards something even though there is no sure thing. When we make choices, we open ourselves up to hard work and failure and heartbreak. So sometimes it feels easier to not know, not to choose, and not to do. And yeah, this quote, it's me. I know the next step. I know what I need to do. I knew that I needed to pick up the camera. I knew that I needed to begin to share, but I would have rather stayed in that place of not knowing, in that place of saying, I'm not really sure if this is for me, because in that place, then I don't have to work hard. I don't have to think hard. I don't have to struggle. But really and truly, there's a time when we need to start something, when we need to step out in courage and to say, I don't need everything to be in place. I don't need everything to be perfect, because actually a lot of what is needed is going to unravel as we journey on. This place of stepping out in courage, this place of stepping out in a time of uncertainty where I don't know what I'm going to be sharing about. I don't know who's going to engage with the videos, but I'm going anyway is reminiscent for me of Joshua 3 and 4. And we see the Israelites, we know that they've gone from journeying through the wilderness for 40 years. We've seen them actually even in slavery for hundreds of years. And then they're at this place where they're at the Jordan River and they're crossing over from the wilderness place to the promised land. And what's really interesting is that when they're at the Jordan River, it's harvest time. It's a time where the river is flooded. It's like the banks are so full and the water is way up in a way that almost seems impossible to cross over. And Joshua speaks to the people as God speaks to him, and he says in Joshua 3, and Joshua said to the people of Israel, "Come here and listen to the words of the Lord your God." And Joshua said, "Here is how you shall know that the living God is among you, and that he will without fail drive out before you the Canaanites, Hittites, Hivites, Perizzites, Girgashites, Amorites, and Jebusites," basically their enemies. "Behold, the ark of the covenant of the Lord of all the earth is passing over before you into the Jordan. Now therefore take 12 men from the tribes of Israel, from each tribe a man. And when the soles of the feet of the priests bearing the ark of the Lord of all the earth, shall rest in the waters of the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan shall be cut off from flowing. The waters coming down from all above shall stand in one heap." What's interesting about that passage is it's talking about not only the fact that they are about to cross over waters that seem impossible and terrifying and could wipe them out in an instant, but also that they're crossing over into enemy territory, into places where other people are already inhabiting. This place that was supposed to be promised land for them, there's still some things that have to be dealt with on the other side. But the comfort that comes there is that the Ark of the Covenant is going before them, and the Ark of the Covenant represented the presence of God going before them. And it's the presence of God that's going to help them, that as soon as they put their feet in the water, as soon as they get into the action of stepping out for themselves, that God is going to heap up that water into one place and literally make a way where there is no way. And so for me, this video marks my crossing over the Jordan River. It marks me stepping onto that water, carrying the presence of God, not knowing exactly what the future holds, but knowing exactly who holds my future. And it's an exciting and terrifying journey all at the same time, but I place it in God's hands, and I hope that you are going to be encouraged on this journey. I hope that you're going to be changed on this journey, and I hope we're just going to grow together. You know, I look back on my old videos and sometimes I think to myself, like, Tracy, what were you thinking? Yet all at the same time I think to myself, Tracy, you really were thinking. And so I'm excited, I'm nervous, and ultimately I'm just trying to be obedient and see where this journey will take me, and I hope that you can journey alongside of me. See you in my next video.